We go on for another example out here in functions within a function so that we understand it a bit better. Oops. Right, so here we have, I'm just commenting out this code. Let's go on to a function. Let me import a module called as the math module. Okay, import the math module. And then let me call a function, let's say foo, which takes a function as a parameter, an argument, and it prints the function. Which function? Oops, I need to close this. Yeah. The function's name can be called with func.__name__, and then I'm going to say was passed. There's going to be a string, right? The function name was passed to foo. Whatever is the function was passed to foo. So we need to know what the function was. That we'll understand it a little later. Okay, so let me say the result, let me say initially, I'm just initializing it to 0, and I need to give a result which is going to be something unique. Okay, now what exactly am I planning to do in my main function? So that means if I say if name is equal to, if __ name of this particular file is going to be equal to __ main __ colon, what am I going to say? I'm going to, let me say print, I'm going to call this function foo, but what is the function that I'm going to pass? I'm going to function something called as math.sign. I'm going to pass the sign function. Okay, and after passing the sign function, I'm again going to call the function foo, but this time I'm going to pass math.cos. I'm going to pass this particular function. So I'm passing foo, that is math.sign, and then I'm passing foo, that is math.cos, which means the function is the same function, but I'm sending different functions as parameters. So I need to print here what is a function's actual name. When I call this, the function's actual name is sign. When I call this function foo math.cos, and when I pass this, the actual function's name is cos. Now what will I do is, I'm going to get the sign and cos of different values in a list. Let's say I'm going to define a list. Let's say for every element in a list, let me just define a list over here. Let me say it as 1, 2, 2.5. And for every element in this particular list, let me make a response which is going to call this particular function, whatever be the function. Maybe it is a sine, maybe it is a cos. So it's going to call this function, and it is going to pass the element, that is each element of this is going to be passed to this function, and that is going to be added to your response. And whatever is the response, I need to return that response, but return the response not inside the for, outside the for, because the response is now going to be appended each time in the loop. So I'm going to return the response somewhere here, return response. Function f5, okay, says name x is not defined, so yeah, function of every element. That's what I'm doing, right? Okay, so it says over here in the first case it was math.sign. So it says the function sign was passed to foo, and then it called the sign of each of these values and added them to response. Okay, what if response was a list? Okay, was an empty list, and I just needed to append whatever is the sign of each of these elements. So that means that will get appended and the list will be complete. Let's say now I call this, the function sign was passed to foo, and then it found out the sign values of each of those three numbers, and the function cos was passed to foo, and it found out the cos values of each of these numbers. Hope you understood that. Is that clear? Okay, So this is how we understand we are sending functions as arguments within functions in such a way so as to get some kind of a different response, right? Now let's understand the output of a function is also a reference to an object, right? So let's say when you return res is nothing but another object, but this object, the type is going to be a list. It's an object. Now if a function returns another function, if it returns a function itself, can I say it returning a function is also returning an object only? Yes or no? So if I return a function, basically I'm returning an object. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Let's do that.